traditions. And the Dogon tribe in Africa comes to mind with respect to the planet Sirius, or the star system Sirius, for example, right? And so, but anyway, when you start looking at all of these, there's a pattern that emerges, and that's what keeps me excited and keeps me motivated as I keep connecting the dots at deeper and deeper levels, and there's more information that keeps coming through, and I find that I can apply this in my own life more and more. I feel more at peace, for example, knowing that this huge pattern is coming to play, this huge image of the future, and this idea of 2012 as a strange attractor of all this information and energy, and that's why we're having this conversation. We too have been attracted and are pulled to it.
Have you studied the Hopi prophecy?
Yes, and at many different levels. Like Frank Waters wrote a wonderful book of the Hopi that's a classic in that field. And speaking of that, I had a wonderful conversation years ago with Reverend Thomas E. Males. He was a former Lutheran minister, and he really, got into meet with and be taught by some of the last elders before they passed of the Hopi Nation. Wrote a wonderful book on the Hopi and survival of these times, in fact. But the point is that the Hopi have one of the most coherent visions, I feel, of the future of all the nations that I've had the privilege of getting to know. And the Hopi, of course, I know you've probably had experts on your show before from that mythology, from those teachings. But right now, we've really seen, I think, George, that they're right on target. They've had so many, over the last 100 years or so, prophecies that have really come true. I don't think, anyone that was honest and objective could look at some of the elder comments about World War I, World War II, et cetera, and the fact that we go into the nuclear age and all this thing, and the fact that, they were some of the first, I think, to clearly map out the idea of guardians of the North and the South Poles, for example, and that these great spiritual powers or forces actually manage the rotation of the Earth. And, today we hear about pole shift and et cetera. Well, that's phenomenal information, I would think, to capture in a story and tell around the campfire.
Well, and some of the prophecies from the Hopi are also pretty frightening, John.
Yes, they are. They refer to, that, in fact, some say that the United States will, experience a nuclear attack on our soil, and that there's a potential for us to be destroyed. Of course, that in a nuclear age, nobody can rule that out. I think that's, rational. We're in dangerous times. There's threats on all corners. We've really stirred the hornet's nest in the Middle East. I think anybody needs to be concerned. But I would say, again, the shaman would look at this and say, you need to find the strength and the peace within you, radiate that even while you're contemplating, surviving, et cetera. So that's where I like to, talk to people. I say, my message is not doom and gloom, but rather we're being groomed to bloom.
I like that. How did they know this, though? How did they, all of them, the Mayans, Egyptians, Hopis, and others, how did they know this? There
is a higher order of information and intelligence that surrounds this planet. Prophets like, in the Old Testament and the New Testament prophets, as well as Native American shamans and healers, and myself included, have either spontaneously or through ritual tapped the Akashic record, this memory of all potential outcomes for the human species. And it's in the electromagnetic field around this planet, in the magnetosphere. It's the mind of Gaia. The New Agers would say the mind of the Earth, but the ancients would talk about Mother Earth and the need to walk softly on her spine, and that's for a reason. It's because the information, the energy, the vibration that we all collectively have within us as living beings is connected to this mind field. Catholic theologian Desjardins called it the noosphere, or the sphere of mind. It's true. I've experienced it, and therefore it is possible to see the future potential outcome in the present moment.
In addition, then, to tapping into this mind records, might they have gotten some extraterrestrial help, too?
Absolutely. I think the Dogon tribe is very credible. I do not believe that, as some scientists or anthropologists suggest, that they were contaminated by Christian missionaries and then went on to evolve an exotic myth around this missionary encounter, and therefore all their rituals and their masks and their artwork and their et cetera was woven around this false impregnation of these ideas. That, to me, is not even credible. So, yes, we have to realize we probably have a binary twin star. Walter Cruttenden talked about this in The Lost Star of Myth and Time, and I think Walter's right on target. And I think Sirius and Orion and Pleiades, all those are involved with the Earth.
I think you're right. There's no doubt about that. We just, as a matter of fact, when NASA announced a few weeks ago this major new story that turned out to be nothing but a supernova, and another story related to that, I thought maybe they were going to announce a binary star system discovery.
I had the same flash of insight myself, and so you know what? It's probably just a matter of a short time before we'll see some type of announcement that we're tracking a new energy source, or there's a new spectral analysis done, and that we're seeing something coming from the Sirius star system. But I think, and again, the Hopi about the blue star Kachina. Now, the Kachina means really just a spiritual entity, or it could be some other knowledge or special gift or talent. But Kachina, the Hopi talk about a blue star, and, you got Sirius A, you've got Sirius B, which revolves around Sirius A every 50 years. That's a huge magnet. And so we got this magnetic power that's like many thousands of times even what our sun is. And if that's coming into alignment, as some suggest, through the core black hole at the center of the Milky Way, then absolutely this would begin the process of Earth changes that we're seeing now in terms of climate, for example.
Could the blue star be a comet or an asteroid or a meteor?
It's been speculated that Hale-Bopp could have been what the Hopi were referring to. I personally don't think so, based on other data that's out there about Sirius and other, the Egyptian, for example, the fact that the Great Pyramid is aligned with Sirius and Orion. Right. And I'll tell you a real quick story if we have a moment here before a break.
Sure.
I was up in the mountains of north central Washington State here not too many weeks after I had a show with you, and I just was up in a town called it's up beyond Colville, Washington. It's a little town called Republic, and it's about 5,000 feet above sea level. It was in not late spring, but middle spring, and it's really cold up there. It's about 20 below zero, and I was up there just on a couple day, just R&R, just trying to get some rest and just get away from everything. And I just happened to come out of my motel room and look up towards the Orion constellation about 10 o'clock that evening. Like I say, it was 20 below zero. Air was crystal clear. In fact, the air was crystallizing, and there was enough humidity in the air where it was just like a snowflake, but it was clear and there was ice. What happened to me, and this has never happened to me before, and I've not tried to do it again, but I might. I looked dead center at the Orion Belt center star system, and then for some reason I kind of glanced over, and there was Sirius. And I never really thought about that alignment before, and immediately it was a magnetic pulse that went through my body, and it came out and magnified the energy in the palms of my hands. It was like suddenly I could heal with my hands. And, it really shook me. Even as much as I know about this, I just never thought about how this could impact our biochemistry and physiology and psychology. So, again, the Great Pyramid's aligned with this. We're talking about maybe 2012 being this alignment with the center of the Milky Way and beyond, maybe our binary star. So we need to start thinking about the impact this will have on everybody if we all turn into shamanic healers.
I think so, too. Let's talk when we come back after the break, John, about 2012 and its tie-in to all these different events, if we can, all right?
You bet.
Special guest John Jay Harper, his website, just like his name, johnjharper.com. We'll be back in a moment on Coast to Coast AM. And our special guest, John Jay Harper. Hey, by the way, we're starting the week now, continuing to push the campaign for Children's International. So let's all sponsor children. If you can't afford $22 a month, just go to the coasttocoastam.com website, and on the yellow flashing banner, which is on the left-hand side of the screen, click that. That'll take you straight to Children International.